Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
Welcome, everyone, to Prop It Up. I am Andy Lang. This is powered by WagerTalk, and joining me, as always, my fellow prop masters, Andrew McInnis and Matt Josephs. We got a lot of sports to go over. NBA playoffs are winding down, but we still have props to talk about. MLB is in full swing, and NHL is winding down, but we still have props, player props, as well as team props and full game props. Let's get right into it. Matt Josephs, I'm going to go to you. K-props have been really, really good. So talk to me about K-props. And I know we're going to get into best bets a little bit later, but what are some other props? You've been talking about the first 3 innings. There's always the run in the first inning. Will there be a run? Will there not be a run? So what have you been focusing on? What's been working for you the last week or so?
Well, I feel like it's the calm before the storm with regards to the K-props, because we're just under a week away from baseball's crackdown on the sticky tack and all that stuff and the guys who are using things. And I think some guys we're just going to see drop off on numbers. Unfortunately, it could be the case of you're going to play a K-prop and then all of a sudden the guy's going to have a lot less and you're going to be like, oh, okay. And you're going to mark that down for the future. We've seen Garrett Cole have a bit of a roller coaster, a guy that everybody seems to think is one of those sticky tack guys. And he had a really good start against Minnesota after a really bad start. You look at Shane Bieber, whose strikeouts have been down since a double-digit start, and so he might be one of these guys. Hyunjin Ryu is another guy who might be one of those guys using. So I'm not as worried about as much because the guys I play are more the middle of the pack than the higher end guys, mostly because I know that the books take these higher end guys and they say, all right, everybody's betting the over, so let's raise the juice and let's raise the number because we know everybody's going to bet the over anyway. So we're kind of in the calm before the storm. I think some guys are going to keep using until that deadline. I think some guys are going to start trying without it and see what happens. But pitching numbers are going to change starting next week, and we're just going to have to adjust to them.
Do you think there's going to be a bigger overreaction from the books or from the bettors? I feel like the books are always a little bit more calm, and they're a little bit more of a gigantic ship that it takes a lot to make a big adjustment, as opposed to bettors who are like jet skis that are constantly turning and bobbing up and down. So what do you think the biggest adjustments are going to be made from the books and from the bettors?
I think the biggest adjustment's going to be this first start post stuff to the second start. I think that the books, some of them they have an idea on. Some of these guys, people on Twitter know you look at the spin rates, and when you have extreme spin rates for somebody, then you're kind of like, oh, yeah, that's why. And then you'll see it the first start post all this stuff happening. I think the biggest adjustment's going to be when you see a guy using, his strikeout prop is going to go from 7.5 to 3.5. Or from, whatever it is. But I think the drop is going to come after that first start once we know everybody who is using. And as far as it sounds like a lot of people use it to some extent. Now, some are going to continue to and just get better hiding it. But we'll see what happens because these umpires are going to be checking. And 10-day, that's the other thing. The 10-day thing that they're getting taken out for 10 days, that's only 2 starts. So to me, that's not enough. I think it should be a couple starts. 3 or 4 starts, not 10 days. That just doesn't feel like much more than a slap on the wrist.
It's always funny when they do suspensions like that. Well, they're suspended 3 days. It was like, he just pitched. He didn't miss anything. So that is good stuff. That is certainly going to be probably the number one story in baseball moving forward. So keep your eyes on that and always check in with Matt. Follow him on Twitter, and his K-props have been great this year. So if you need somebody to help guide you through this chaos of these suspensions and everything, Matt is your guy. Andrew, let's talk some NHL. Not a lot of games going on each and every night, but there are still some areas where we can take advantage. I love your best bet that's coming. So what have you noticed? And talk to us about some of the teams that are left and where you're finding some value in props. Could be player props, could be team props.
There's definitely a lot of, team props along with player props, but I've kind of been focusing on the team props. What is each team doing? I know Carmine, obviously my co-host on Puck Time, he's been focusing on the power play props because special teams has played a huge factor in the playoffs in general. But as we get farther along, goals are so hard to come by. But one I really wanted to focus on today on the show was just the team shots on goal. Or the other way of looking at it is goalie saves. Usually a book offers one or the other. And, you can see it tonight with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Islanders. Tampa Bay Lightning, it's 31.5. And I believe, without checking my computer screen, I believe it's around 27.5, 28.5 for the New York Islanders. And, I think as the series moves forward, we're going to see those numbers even shift a little bit. And you can also bet the combined shots for both teams on goal, 59.5. Keep in mind that a goal does count as a shot. I've had that question a couple times to me, if a goal counts as a shot on goal. But of course, if you scored, you shot the puck on the goal. So I really feel like that's a good angle because it's kind of actually a translation, I believe, to Matt's approach with the runs, hits, and errors in the MLB. Because what I love about taking the team shots is that, if you like the over 5.5 or the over 5, for example, in today's game, I do believe that you love there to be lots of shots. Two talented goaltenders. There's, not a team left, the goaltender that I'm worried about, that I'm, uncomfortable having on my team. And I think it's a really great angle to look towards, especially if you think it's going to be a close game, equal between both teams, trading opportunities. And right now, we saw it last night in the Montreal and Vegas game. There's not much space out there. If you can count to 3 when you have the puck, you're probably going to get laid out. So you have to make a quick split decision. And if you're doing that, it's either pass, dump it in, or shoot. So we're seeing a lot of lower quality shots, Andy, but that would help with our shots on goal props with players. But I've kind of gotten away from doing these singular player props on shots and just looking towards the team. So that's kind of an angle I want to bring up today.
It's a great angle. The other angle I would like to bring up in NHL is, I keep saying this, with the NBA and NHL, it's the same. A new series is like a whole nother season, and be careful about trying to bring over trends. Sometimes they do work from series to series, but we've went over the Tyler Toffoli undershots prop that I did well on, cashed those a lot. And I wanted to see what happened in the first game of the series. And he flew over the total, had an assist. He was very involved. And it's kind of one of those where now I may immediately jump to the over 2.5 shots, where I was playing under his shots, every single night in the previous series. And now, okay, it's a completely different series. They're going to get shots from a bunch of different people, and Toffoli looks like he may be one of them. So now we immediately go from unders to overs. So as long as you're keeping an eye on that. NBA, listen, this is a playoffs of unders, and I keep telling people, don't ignore the unders on these props. You go on social media and everything's over. The other night I had a 3-0 night. Everything was under. Guys like Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter, who have just struggled mightily, were huge under players. The Jokic assists was an underplay. Giannis has been an unbelievable underplay. He has yet to go over his points, rebounds, and assists one time this entire postseason. And you see huge games like his where he goes for 34 and 14, and he still comes in under. So do not ignore these unders. And Ben Simmons is actually a guy that, now that Danny Green is out, you're seeing Ben Simmons be a little bit more involved in offense, and the books are struggling with his number. He was an easy over on his points, rebounds, and assists. The other game, the other one I'll bring up is Seth Curry. Look at his 3-point number. If the books are still hanging over or under 2.5 made 3-pointers a game, I would take the over. Matt, you can speak on this. It's got to be frustrating watching Philly. I thought we saw Joel Embiid really where all the wear and tear on his knee started to show up in that second half. He was 0 for 12, but it wasn't like he was just missing wide open shots. It looked to me like he was really laboring. So Matt, you follow the 76ers. I think Embiid may be an underplay for the rest of that series myself.
I actually think the opposite direction. One of the things I hit, because DraftKings had Dwight Howard at 4.5 points, and his points, rebounds, and assists was like 10.5. I think you're right. I think they're actually, not only do you maybe consider the unders for Embiid, but you start considering the overs for Dwight Howard, a guy who will get plenty of rebounds. He occasionally adds some points as well. So if your book, most books don't offer Dwight Howard, but I mentioned the one that did. So you may want to take advantage of those numbers if they continue to be low as well.
It's a great point. I have done very well this postseason with those lower numbers, like guys that only need 7 points to get over their total, or like you said, Dwight Howard. So yeah, that's one of the best points, Matt, is if you think a guy is hurt, look at who's backing him up and who's going to get a minutes. Because with props, half the thing is what opportunity is that person going to get? And Dwight Howard looks like he's going to be getting a lot of opportunities, especially if Embiid is hurt. That's a great point. So let's promote some stuff. I've got U.S. Open going this week, so that has taken up all of my time, and it's going to be a great week. I have the U.S. Open wager pack up on WagerTalk.com. Use the promo code OPEN21. That gets you 50% off, and I will have plays that are available on FanDuel and DraftKings. I will also have plays that are available just on offshore, so no matter what book you use, you will have plays, and I will have a 5% play that is just for DraftKings, and I will have a 5% play that is just for offshore. So no matter what, you're going to have a 5% play. You're going to have all the props, DFS lineups, everything. So that is what's going on with me this week. That is my main focus. Matt, you're doing K-props, and don't look now, college football is right around the corner, right?
Yeah, certainly. I'm getting ready for that. And for those who are not familiar, I do a series of articles for Athlon where I do the win totals for every team in America for college football. And so certainly that helps with regards to doing prep and things like that. So last year I had my best college football year of the ever, and so we're looking forward to that. But yeah, K-props are going well. I only have one K-prop tonight in my package. I put up a 4-pack after going 4-1 yesterday. So you can certainly find that on my page over at sportsmemo.com.
How do you do win totals for every team? Where do you get the time in the day to do that? That is crazy.
I don't have much of a social life, that's for sure. And it's great preparation, especially for week one, Andy. Week one of college football, at least in my book, is one of the best weeks because we usually take the teams that are more experienced against the teams that are less experienced, and you at least can find some value there because there's going to be some matchups that are tilted one way or another.
So great. Win totals for every single college football team. Man, I struggle with just my daily picks. You're doing every single team in America. Good for you, man.
I wouldn't say you struggle, Andy. You do pretty well. So I wouldn't say you struggle.
I put on for the camera. You don't see what's going on just outside the frame. Andrew, what do you got going on? You've been killing baseball, correct?
Yeah, baseball's been great. It's so funny, guys. I mean, I shouldn't say it's funny, but I had such a disastrous start to the season. I mean, to put it in perspective, since April 17th, I'm up 78% ROI, and I'm only up, I believe, like 28% on the year. So if we can just take away that first half of April, that'd be great. If we could just somehow just make that disappear, make those stats disappear, I'd be super happy. But 10 straight MLB 5% plays and 78% since midway point of April. I have a best bet up for tonight, coming off a 2-0 sweep yesterday. But the big news for me here north of the border, I'm super excited. Canadian football is back. It's coming in August, a shortened 14-game season. It's one sport that I love. I do a lot of research with. I believe it's a really beatable sport. The line movement is unbelievable from opening day until game day. It's ridiculous. You guys can beat the books just based off, following some of these moves. So yeah, tonight I just have best bet up in the MLB, but I had one code I wanted to mention for baseball. It's MLB 50 to get 50% off my MLB through the World Series. So 50% off the entire season right until the World Series using the coupon code MLB50.
All right, good stuff. Gosh, college football, Canadian football, getting chills. This is awesome. A lot of football coming your way, guys. All right, let's do some best bets. Matt, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about the prop of a run in the first inning. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the run in the first inning in the Milwaukee-Cincinnati game. And if you look at Luis Castillo, I mean, he's been getting better as of late, but he's still giving up runs in the first inning. In 11 of his 13 starts, Castillo has had a run scored. Now, some of that was Cincinnati scoring the run. Some of that was people scoring on Luis Castillo. But his numbers, hitters have a 308 batting average the first time through the lineup. He's given up 27 of his 48 runs through that first time. And the number one hitter is hitting 351 against him this season. The number 2 hitter is hitting 400 this season. And usually I like to play this thing when I get 2 vulnerable pitchers. And of course, Brett Anderson is as vulnerable as it gets against a Reds lineup that's been smoking hot lately. Half of Brett Anderson starts, which he's only had 10 of them. We've seen first inning runs scored. So I found it at -125. It's not going to be plus, unfortunately, because I think the books realize there's a good chance there could be a run tonight. But still at -125 or so, a run in the first inning of the Cincinnati-Milwaukee game is my best bet for tonight.
Love it. Andrew, let's go to you. You have a play in the Tampa Bay game, and you mentioned it earlier. You got shots on goal prop.
I mentioned it earlier, so I figured I might as well give a best bet on that play. We were going with Tampa Bay over 31.5 shots on goal, -110. That's combined with the entire team, every single player together. Like I said, I'm done with these player props for the most part as far as the shots. I have a couple that I liked for today, but I won't be scattering the board anymore. I'm going to just look at the team as a whole. And Andy did a great job of finding some unders with these player shot props. And with certain teams, it's a complete mixed bag. It's a group effort. And with that group effort, we're getting over that 31.5. And the funny thing is, guys, we can get over 31.5 shots on goal, and this game could still be 2-1, just like the last time around. And that's why I love this bet even more sometimes than I love betting overs. I do lean towards the over in tonight's game. I do like it. I bet it. But I really do like the Lightning over 31.5 shots on goal. They hit the exact number of 31 last time around. They're averaging around that 30 benchmark throughout the entire playoffs. And after that loss they had last time around, I'm expecting them to get over 31.5 shots.
Good stuff. I am going to take PJ Tucker over half a 3-point shot made. He's an okay 3-point shooter. He's certainly not related to Steph or Seth Curry by any stretch, but he can hit open threes. And I actually wondered why they haven't used him a little bit more. And you saw it open up last game. I don't know if it had anything to do with the Kyrie injury, but he got open in the corner and he went 3 of 6 from 3-point range. I think you're going to see a little bit more of that with a Brooklyn team where if the rumors are true and Harden is going to try and play, that means he is just a hobbled Harden, if you want to call it that, which means they're going to need to play some help defense and there's going to be some open shooters. I would look for PJ Tucker to get at least one. That's all you need, one 3-point shot open in the corner. If there's a prop, if it's going to be a corner 3, I would take that as well. So PJ Tucker over half a made 3-pointer. Good stuff, guys. That is Matt Josephs on sportsmemo.com. Go there for all your K props. Get ready for college football. It's Andrew McInnis on WagerTalk.com. Hockey, baseball. He loves the Tampa Bay over 31.5 shots. I love that too. And I am Andy Lang on WagerTalk.com, getting ready for the U.S. Open and a 4% MLB play tonight. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck, everyone. Cash all those prop tickets. We will see you next week.